Okay, hi again. This is George from donzon.com, and we're looking at some of the kanji identification tools within JWPce. And on this lesson, we're going to look at what's called the SKIP tool. This one's kind of interesting. It has some definite possibilities of usefulness. Okay, so let's try this. Now, how does the SKIP tool work? Well, very simply, let me click on that, the SKIP Lookup. Okay, it has this. Now, before I said, well, gee, I have some knowledge about the Japanese language, that I know that, oh, this is the radical, or this is the radical, or the bushu, and then I can go from there and say, well, I can identify it using information about the radical. Well, let's now assume that I don't have that knowledge. I don't have the knowledge of Japanese that I can quickly identify, oh yes, that's the strength radical, or that's the tree radical, or anything like that. Let's say I don't know anything about that. All I know is about shape and strokes. Okay. So the SKIP lookup will help us tremendously with that. So if you're first learning Japanese, or even if you know Japanese and you can't identify the radical, then this is a real powerful way of finding out some of that stuff. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so let's start with our kanji here that we've seen before, that you might remember. But I'm not going to tell you what it is, because we're going to assume that we don't know anything. Okay. Now, looking at that, it has the form of something on this side and something on this side. So the type, or the form, let's call it the type of this radical, is something over here and something over here. Okay? So if we go down here to type, it gives us different types of characters right here. And notice that the first one is this side-by-side sort of thing. So this black part here, this black part is the thing that we're going to call our for lack of a better term, radical, but that's going to be what we're concerned with first. Okay? So we'll click on type 1, and we can use the up arrows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, and we'll go back to 1. Okay, or you could simply just type in 1 there. Okay, the next box then asks, how many strokes is that thing there? Okay, and by the way, notice that it says here matches 1,500 too many, so we haven't finished this. So, but let's go back here and look at this right hand, this left hand part of the kanji. How many strokes does it have? Well, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I may have done those out of order, but that says it has 10 strokes. So I click on here and type in 10. Okay? Now, the next part here, how many strokes on the rest of the kanji, on the other part of the kanji right here? Well, very simply, 1, 2. So we type in 2 there. And this narrows it down from over 1,000 at the beginning down to 7. And I think a quick scan through here, you can find, where is it? Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, that seems to be it. We can get the info. There's our diligence again. Kin is the name of that. Close that. And so we can then insert that into our file. And again, remember that in this exercise, we're assuming that, just move that down a little bit. Okay. We're assuming that this was on some piece of paper or somewhere else, not in our digital environment of a word processor. So we didn't know what this was. This was on a sign or on a certificate or on a piece of paper or in a book or on a video or something like that that we wanted to identify what that was. And so that's how you do it. Okay? So that's using the SKIP lookup. All right. All right, let's try another one. Let's try this guy. So let me clear that search. And let's look up, what in the heck is this guy right here? What does that mean? Some of you already know what that means, but let's assume that you don't. Okay? So, first of all, it is the same type, that there's something on one side and something on the other side. And in the next video, we'll look at some of these other types here. But so we have something on the left and something on the right. Okay? Don't know anything about radicals or anything like that. All we know is about shapes and how many strokes it takes to make these shapes. All right, so it's that type. So we'll go in here and we'll type 1. And so we got all of those. And gee, we've got 1,500 too many matches to deal with. Okay. So how many strokes is this left part? Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So this has 4 strokes. So I'll click the arrow until I get 4. So that went from 1,500 matches down to 660 matches. Not bad. Okay, do we see it yet? We could go through all of those. Boy, that would take all day. I'm not inclined to do that. Okay, so let's try to narrow down the search even more. Okay, so we have this type 1 with 4 strokes, and how many strokes on the rest of the kanji? Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so there are 13 strokes to do that right part of the kanji. So let's type in 13. And that went from 600 and whatever it was, 660, 680, whatever it was, down to 34. So we've really reduced it down quite a bit. Okay, and so this will probably be not too bad. Okay, so let's kind of scan through here and see if it's there. Okay, now that looks like that same thing on the left side, but this side looks a little bit different. Yeah, there's some similarities, but it's not the same. So let's keep going, and we'll scan over here, scan through here, and again we can scan through all 34 if you like. But I think you already probably saw that this one right here is the same thing. So we'll click on that and get a bigger picture of it with the Get Info. And does that look the same? It looks exactly the same as that. And let's see what this says. Okay, this is cedar. Oh, it's a cedar tree, or a sandalwood tree, or a spindle tree. Okay, and let me put that up in the window there. So the sandalwood tree, and it's pronounced, that's ta, with the 2 little tick marks makes it da, n, don. Oh, that's pronounced don. Okay, or it can be pronounced tan, or Mayumi. That is the kun reading. Okay, and I talked about on reading and kun reading here. On reading are the readings that come from Chinese, so they're the kind of the Chinese influenced readings, and the kun readings are the pure Japanese readings. We'll see more of that as we go along. So this is dan. And in Chinese, you'd look at that and say tan. kan means the sandalwood tree. Okay, so in Japanese we can say tan or we can say dan, depending on the context. And for those of you who kind of already know where I'm going with this, that's the character that's used in danzan, as in danzan.com, which is named after the type of jujitsu style that I study called Danzan Ryu, and it means sandalwood. Danzan means sandalwood mountain, which refers to Hawaii, and we'll get into that another time, but that's what that means. The sandalwood tree is that character there. Okay, so that's using the SKIP lookup to find some characters. Okay, pretty cool, this SKIP lookup. And the next one we'll do SKIP lookup again with some of these other types. Okay, see you then.